We'll now have the government speak. Joshua Levy, First Assistant United States Attorney, Levy, L-E-V-Y, followed by Joseph Bonavolanta, Special Agent in Charge of the Federal Bureau of Investigations in Boston. Bonavolanta, B-O-N-A-V-O-L-O-N-T-A.
Tough act to follow. On February 23rd, 2019, Jassy Correia set out to a nightclub to celebrate her 23rd birthday with friends. She never made it back to her friend's apartment that night. Her body was found 4 days later, dead, stuffed in the trunk of a car in Delaware. Today, the individual who did this to Jassy, who abducted her outside that nightclub just a few miles from here, was convicted of kidnapping resulting in death. Louis D. Coleman III was found guilty by a jury of tricking Jassy into believing that he was going to give her a ride back to her friend's apartment and instead holding her against her will, sexually assaulting her, strangling her to death, and embarking on a massive effort to cover up his crimes. Judge Saylor will impose sentence in September, but by statute, Louis D. Coleman will spend the rest of his life in jail. My heart breaks for Jassy's family, who watched every minute of this trial. It was incredibly painful. Her father, her mother, her brother, her grandmother, friends, aunts, uncles. A lot of us are parents. I can't imagine the experience of sitting through that trial. They showed incredible courage and love for Jassy by being her presence in the courtroom every day. Please take a moment to remember, and I appreciate your question, Shelley, this vibrant 23-year-old woman who had her life stolen from her. And although this conviction will not bring Jassy back, today's guilty verdict brings some measure of justice to her loving family, who must face a devastating void every single day of their lives. My heart is especially heavy for Jassy's daughter, who's only 4 years old right now. This case, this prosecution, was an incredible collaborative effort of law enforcement between state, local, federal agencies in Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Delaware, the FBI, the Boston Police, the Providence Police, and the Delaware State Police must be commended for their incredible work on this case. Excellent law enforcement work rarely makes good headlines, but that's exactly what happened in this case. Their dogged work from the moment Jassy was reported missing, 24/7, led to the recovery of Jassy's body on that highway in Delaware. We can't say enough at the U.S. Attorney's Office about our appreciation for the FBI and the BPD and the Providence Police and the Delaware Police. I also want to recognize the trial team. Assistant U.S. Attorneys Robert Richardson, Eliana Newsom, and Ken Shine, along with FBI agent, Special FBI agent Tom Zoukakis, and paralegal Melissa Butts for their tireless work, hours and hours of work reviewing countless videos to bring this case to the jury over the past 3 years. There's simply no higher calling as a prosecutor or a law enforcement agent than giving voice to the voiceless. And that's what this team did. I'm incredibly proud of them. I'm incredibly proud of our law enforcement partners. I'll now turn it over to Joe Bonavolenta, Special Agent in charge of the FBI.
Thank you, Josh, and good afternoon. This crime was senseless and horrific, and there is no question that today's verdict is just. No excuse can justify the savagery committed by this man who will face life behind bars. Louis Coleman abducted, assaulted, and killed Jassy Correia and then tried to conceal his crimes. What should have been a fun night celebrating her 23rd birthday turned into a dreadful nightmare for Jassy's family. We are thankful this jury has held him responsible. This was a complex, multi-agency, multi-jurisdictional investigation. Together with the Boston and Providence police departments, the FBI worked tirelessly to seek justice for Jassy, a beloved mother, daughter, sister, and friend. The lasting impact and trauma this man has inflicted on Jassy's family can never be erased, and our hearts are with them today. FBI Boston's Violent Crimes Task Force works every day with our law enforcement partners to get violent criminals like Coleman off the streets and out of our communities, and we will continue to combine our resources to target those who seek to commit similar heinous acts. You should know that every time a kidnapping is reported, a sophisticated law enforcement process is set into motion, as it was for this case. Today's verdict comes after 3 years of hard work by our local, state, and federal partners in Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Delaware. And as you've heard earlier, this was truly a team effort through the FBI Boston's Violent Crimes Task Force, our partners and colleagues at the United States Attorney's Office in the District of Massachusetts, as well as the Rhode Island Attorney General's Office, the Rhode Island U.S. Attorney's Office, the Delaware U.S. Attorney's Office, the Delaware State Police, and the United States Marshal Service. I would like to thank everyone for their dedication and efforts on this investigation. Thank you.
Well, the answer is yes, it was complicated because we needed to prove the elements of a kidnapping under federal law resulting in death. And obviously you were there, you saw the defense was focused on the elements. It was a complicated case, and we had an excellent team, and excellent agents, and obviously persuaded the jury, every one of them beyond a reasonable doubt. There is no federal murder statute unless the victim is a federal official or certain enumerated classes of individuals. So there was not an option to charge federally.
About how vital.
The picture's worth 1,000 words. I mean, the videos allowed us to tell the story in real time to the jury. I think many of you saw this with the marathon bombing trial. The videos are omnipresent, and they frankly back up from the jury trial. The videos allowed us to identify Mr. Coleman in real time. So the videos are there to protect us and find people who do things like this heinous act.
What are you doing to help them? Being this awful.
Just acting with humanity, trying to be supportive. You know, I think when you're thrust into the criminal justice process, it can be a very foreign world. Put aside the language barriers, just to be a part of it. So answering their questions, explaining what was coming up, giving them a shoulder to cry on. We're all in this as prosecutors. The cases that motivate us are the ones that have victims and people that we can help. And Joe said it best. It's never going to replace Jassy, but if this can give them some small measure of comfort, then then we feel that we've done our job.